Hey there, this is Jason from IQ Fitness and Wellness Center, known as the smartest path to your best self. I want to give you a few tips today. They're called the 3Cs. It's actually called control what you can, cope with the situation, and concentrate on what matters. I've got some really great things you can take immediate action with, and I think it's going to really help you because I know you're probably dealing with a little stress right now with the COVID-19 situation. So just doing our part to see if we can make your day a little bit better. Okay, first I want to start off though with a quick story. I think it's really important that I've had a lot of work to do personally with like how I respond to stressful situations. I used to be really afraid to fly, and it was just like super anxiety, and it was really difficult, and it was very, very stressful for 3 or 4 or 5 hours on a flight. And as you know, getting recycled air and maybe not the best nutrition, and maybe getting up really early, so that means your immune system's off, right? And I used to get sick a lot after flights. So anyway, I went to this coach out on the East Coast there, Dr. Kevin, and he really helped me with a breakthrough, okay? And so what I realized from that is that I cannot control the outcome of what happens to the plane, honestly. Like nobody can, right? Except the pilot. And it was one of those situations where I felt really helpless, and that made me anxious and gave me anxiety, and it just screwed up the whole day and even into some of the trips I took, right? And so I really focused on these 3Cs. Is what he taught me way back then, and I've brought a fresh new look at it to help you guys out, because actually I flew back literally a few hours after being done with this gentleman, flew back from Boston, actually tremendous turbulence almost the whole time back to Lansing. It was one of the worst plane rides I've been on, but guess what? Not an ounce of anxiety, wasn't nervous, had no issues at all. I actually sat there on my laptop typing away all these cool goals I was going to be accomplishing, and all this new stuff I was going to implement, is because he really helped me see, you can't control the outcome, so control what you can. So let's talk about that. So first of all, control what you can. Let's start with the what happens in a stress response, okay? Just a little physiology. So you probably heard of the hormone called cortisol. It's a really important hormone that we have to have in certain times. However, when we respond to stress and we let it take over, you end up getting a lot of cortisol, and we don't respond appropriately, and you let it take over. Cortisol, believe it or not, within just like 15 or 20 minutes of this hitting your body and your brain, it reduces your IQ up to 50%, 50%. So whatever you're trying to do, whether it be concentrate at work, read something, study something, it's going to be more difficult, okay? It also, obviously, as you guys probably have heard, helps you store body fat, just helps you not feel so good. It can make your joints ache if it's been a chronic thing that you've secreted for a long time. It can downregulate other hormones. It can even cause sleep disruption. So cortisol is really important, okay? So we're gonna talk about how we can manage that. One of the best ways you can do that is to make sure you're sleeping well. What's the best way to sleep well? Well, everybody's a little different. What we do here at IQ Fit is really customize and really tailor individual solutions. However, I can tell you generally speaking, blacking out the room is really important. You really gotta black out that room. And daylight and sunlight is really important for the brain. But when you sleep, that's not the time for daylight and sunlight, right? So black out the room, get those heavy duty curtains, or do what you can to kind of get vampire-like in there, okay? Also, I want you to work on considering white noise. You could just put on like a little fan on low off in the corner. Make sure it's not blowing directly on you if you get cold easy. Another thing is to make sure you put electronic devices out of the room. I know we're all big with like personal time, and maybe I can get on my Kindle a little bit before bed, but it's really not healthy to have those devices on, whether it be cell phone or Kindle, what have you, laptop, whatever, and in your same room you sleep in. I won't get into that. You can look that up, but there is some effects they found with like some of those, the electronics being in the same room, okay? Also, your brain is very attuned to that. If you have a notification or a buzz, you might wake right up, or at least have less quality sleep, because your brain is wired for that notification and like what's going on, and did I get an email from work and all that stuff, okay? So if you turn your phone off and leave it in a different room, it tells your brain, okay, I'm done with that chapter, let me go to sleep. It's really important, okay? So another important thing for sleep is routine. You want to get into routine, which means try to go analog, try to go, magazine, book, play a game with your kids or spouse or family or friends or somebody. Try to go, again, almost like off the grid, old-fashioned log cabin. Try to do something for half an hour right before bedtime that's analog and not digital. Allows the brain to relax and calm down a little bit. Also, the light coming at you from electronic device, TV, phone, whatever, laptop, is that flashlight to your brain, remember? So you might see text and images on the screen, your brain sees a bright white light, and that says daylight, and that says, hey, I don't need to sleep. So let's work on some of those things right now. Nutrition is a huge one. Okay, really, really big. Remember, these are things you can control. Nobody's going to tell you what you can or cannot eat, okay? So how about let's work on keeping the sugar really low. A lot of you are concerned with your immune system right now. Am I going to get sick with possibly with coronavirus? I don't know. Who knows? But we can control what we can, right? So low sugar is really, really important. Sugar competes for vitamin C among other things in your body and at the cellular level, and then it blocks vitamin C from absorption. And then our immune system can take a downward trend as a result. It also, sugar, as you probably know, messes with blood sugar. So if you have blood sugar dips, there we go back to cortisol again. We get lower blood sugar, and then our cortisol spikes to help us give us energy. But that's keeping us alive and moving and surviving, but that's not a good way to get energy, okay? Low processed foods. So the more crappy, white flour, chips, crackers, all the breads and pastas and things like that. Yeah, you might want some comfort food right now. I totally get that. And you should actually have some sparingly. Got to be careful. Too much of a good thing, right, is a bad thing, right? So comfort food gives us a nice warm blanket feeling. Maybe mom or grandma or somebody had a great recipe that just makes you feel good. That's fine. But having like lasagna for, breakfast, lunch, and dinner with no veggies, and kicking back some chocolate milk with it, that's probably not going to be really healthy for your immune system, all right? Let's work on that. So really keep your veggies going, really important. They stimulate the immune system. We want to swap out pro-inflammatory fats, okay? These are high in omega-6s, so real quick, like soybean, canola, safflower, sunflower, and especially processed hydrogenated fats like Crisco, things like that. You really want to minimize all the time, but especially now. Your immune system's going to really take a hit from that, okay? Really, really important. Also, we want to make sure we have protein in each meal. Proteins are going to help slow our meal absorption down in our gut, and that's going to help give us a nice, steady blood sugar curve. And of course, again, if we keep our blood sugar steady, we get less cortisol, less spikes and dips. You're going to feel better and keep your immune system in tip-top shape. And then as you guys probably know, if you follow me for any length of time, the omega-3 fatty acids are crucially important. Most of us can't get enough from diet. I recommend a quality fish oil like a triglyceride molecular form fish oil that we do carry that here. Otherwise, look for triglyceride form. It has to be on the label. Otherwise, it's a inferior form called ethyl ester. Multivitamins is really important too. You're going to need a little bit extra, especially the B complex if you're feeling any stress. Really important. And a good multi, again, the one we carry here has more magnesium in it. Magnesium is really great for helping you sleep better. And then vitamin D, one of the top micronutrients of all time in the studies and in the literature as far as helping support all our body systems. There's over, I believe there's over 1,000 genes that have an effect. Vitamin D has an effect on over 1,000 genes, but especially we know the immune system's big with that. You should be taking roughly between 4, 5, 6,000 IU. Obviously, if you have a health situation, check with your doctor first, but the literature shows that that's a completely healthy dose, and it is needed actually to keep us up decent blood levels in our blood, okay? So that's just a few things as far as control what you can, okay? Let's talk about now coping with the situation right now. Again, do you have control of the outcome of how long this whole societal shutdown lasts, how long you're gonna be maybe quarantined, possibly in your dwelling, in your house? Who knows, right? Honestly, who knows? But what can we really do to cope with the situation? Lean on family and friends, okay? Obviously, get together as much as you can with them safely. You can Skype, FaceTime, what have you. Do different technology things if you need to get in touch with people, but really connect with people. That's going to give you, again, that tribal sense. And when we get tribalism going, we feel better, and it does boost healthy chemicals in our body, lowers bad chemicals, actually. Try to be careful with your media consumption. A lot of folks are just every minute or two checking their phone, watching, TV, media, radio, like what's the latest, what's this, what's that. I'm not saying never to, I'm not saying to stop being informed, but you gotta be careful. The media has a job to do, and believe it or not, that's actually to pay their bills. So their top thing is to make sure they give you enough information, frequently enough to make sure you keep glued to their source, right? They want you to keep you there. And that's actually not healthy for you to be constantly, every few minutes, trying to get updates on it. It just keeps winding up more of that nervous response. Cortisol affects your sleep, your well-being. And again, it's actually displacing time and energy that you could be using to make yourself better. So I'm a big fan right now of looking at self-improvement. What can you do to help make you healthier and better as a human being, as a person, as a leader in your community or your household? What can you do to get better? Can you do some self-help courses, self-help books maybe right now? Maybe there's a hobby or something you wanted to do and you just keep putting off. Maybe now's the time to do that. Why? Because let's focus on getting ourselves better, self-improvement in some fashion, versus focusing on things we can't control. Do you follow me? It's a displacement theory, right? It's almost like you could have had a plate of veggies and protein and healthy carbs, like a sweet potato, but we displaced it instead with like cake and pizza. You follow me? So you can, either way, you're gonna eat a meal. Let's consume something that's gonna help really empower us. So that would be, again, in my opinion, self-improvement. And there's all kinds of that stuff all over the internet, everywhere, and try to find people that resonate with you, that make sense, and work on that. Okay, number 3, concentrate on what matters. Okay, really boil this down to the basics of what makes you tick in life. Okay, like what's really important to you. Okay, so I found that even if this is something you haven't thought of before, serving others right now, I think is a really great thing you could try. Why serve others? Well, first of all, there's a lot of other people that could be nervous or freaking out, a little anxious, right? And helping to calm them is going to help calm you, actually, because it gets you out of that state, right? Because you have to calm someone else, right? Or at least go serve someone else. Maybe there's meals you can serve and help out the community, because we know there's going to be a lot of kids and a lot of people that are hurting from this economic slowdown right now. So that also, by the way, when you serve others, okay, it puts you in a state of gratitude, and it actually helps you secrete DHEA. That's a balancing chemical from cortisol. They kind of counteract each other in a way. They balance each other. And the more DHEA you can secrete naturally, oftentimes the better you feel, okay? A lot of these bad or not so good hormones, if we spike them, they'll come down, and then the better ones will go up, better sleep, etc. And again, I think it's just a great place to, instead of look at, man, all these problems, the sky is falling, let's look at our blessings. The vast majority of us will come through this alive and be fine and move on with life. Like, remember that. That's a fact. All the literature is saying that right now. All the data is saying that most of us will be fine. So let's talk about and think about things that are going to be happening on the other side of this. What's going to be happening when you get back to work or back to your routine, stuff like that. But serving others, I think, is big. And then gratitude, I kind of mentioned that already, but if you can really, again, think of things in your life what's not broken, think of what's really good right now. That's going to, again, help center you, help give you positive energy back into yourself and not deplete your batteries. That's really important, okay? So hopefully these tips help you out. Again, it's control what you can. Nutrition, sleep, things like that are really important that you take control of that right now, and then create a great habit that continues after all this. Cope with the situation. Lean on people you trust. Connect with friends and family. Get warm and fuzzy tribal feeling going. Work on self-improvement, and then concentrate on what matters, okay? Again, if you have the basics covered in life and you're upright and healthy and you have shelter, let's be grateful for that simple stuff, okay? It's really important. So hopefully this helps you out. I wish you the best of luck. I want you to stay calm and breathe. And I want you to do one more thing, though. I want you to practice this breathing drill, okay? So when we breathe, it really can help, again, center our body. So I want you to work on this, okay? I want you to sit down, relax. If you can, close your eyes. You're going to take a nice, big, deep breath into your nose, okay, for 6 seconds. Hold for 6 seconds, and then let it go for 6 seconds. I want you to really practice that, at least 3 to 5 of those if you're feeling a little stressed. I like to do mine first thing in the morning, maybe before bed, maybe after lunch, okay? So again, inhale very slowly. Try to expand your ribs. Remember, we're gonna try and not breathe up here. We're gonna try and breathe with the chest and the lungs, the ribs and the diaphragm, and try to expand that down below your shoulders, keeping your shoulders down. So in for 6 seconds, but I want you to work on holding for 6 seconds, okay? It really lets energy dissipate, and then slowly exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds. Try a few of those, okay? I want you to give me feedback. You can comment on this and let me know what you think, okay? So anyway, take care of yourself, be safe, and talk to you soon.